Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome. Another Summer League show with me and the GOAT, DK. DK, welcome. Difference today, MLB All-Star break. There's a home run derby tonight, so we might have some new faces. If we do, guys, welcome. We're going to be friendly to you. We are not going to try to take your money. We're going to give you all the advice we can. We're going to tell you who's active and who's not. First rule today I'm going to tell you is if you're out to dinner with somebody, 5 minutes before lock all the games, just go to the bathroom. Make sure your guys are playing. Put a search your guys' names. Be careful. And if lineups change, I tend to not like to play bench guys unless I am absolutely confident they're in uniform. DK, any advice for the new people? And how did last night go?
Yeah, so I think that's really good advice. We saw it with Golden State last night. They did not start.
Rowe.
Who was it?
Rowe? Jackson Rowe?
Yeah, Jackson Rowe, and he got a DNP. So yeah. I think sometimes we'll get starting lineups for lock. Sometimes we won't. But if we get a lineup and one of your guys is not starting, there's always that DNP risk. So that's very good advice. And then, last couple of days for me has been really, really, really good for Summer League. Came in 5th in the high stakes last night. I won the early slate yesterday. Got a little bit lucky, honestly, with Orlando Robinson. I thought for sure he was going to start. He didn't, but he got smashed off the bench.
We got to talk about that, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about not playing bench guy. And he did come off the bench last game, but
right.
I can't believe you. It was so similar to the Kenny Lofton. It's similar to Kenny Lofton play.
For sure.
That you also pooped on. You pooped on the Lofton people. And now I was asleep, so I just stayed on him. But it's the exact same scenario. I just love that you're okay with doing the double entendre and knowing it's a bit. But
yeah.
Awesome
also
play.
In last night or in the early slate, there were like no other center options because
True,
I think Diabate was the only other guy, and he already started. So I was kind of assuming that Orlando was going to start, and he didn't. But there really wasn't any other options. I kind of just had to roll with it. Just like there was an early slate a couple days ago where Cole Swider didn't start, and I was a little bit worried he wouldn't play. Yeah. But there was no other forwards that were playable, so I literally just had to play him.
The only person you could swap to was Vucevic, and that was the exact same scenario of a guy coming off the bench.
Yep.
So
exactly.
But one guy
preferred Orlando to Vuce. So.
Oh yeah, one guy's like a 30,000 fantasy point per minute guy, and then Vuce is really good. But I played Vuce because I'm a EuroLeague guy. I can't help it. And the person who got introduction to the lineup for the Warriors yesterday was a EuroLeague guy. Took over Jackson Rowe's spot in the rotation. Roman Sorkin. Shout out Maccabi. Let's get into it. Dallas Mavericks. Surprise starter for me in their first game was Jamarian Sharp, the guy from Western Kentucky. He's like 8 foot tall. And not be surprised, he had 3 or 4 blocks, I think, maybe 5. 4.4K. If he starts again, I do have interest in him. I don't know what he's listed officially on draft. Is he actually a center? Do we have him actually?
No, they had listed a small forward, power forward.
Of course, yeah. Why not? He's like 7'5", so let's list him as a small forward, power forward. Makes it a little bit more difficult. I wish he was a center, but I still have interest in huge. Oh, sorry, the press is here. Anyways, I really like him still because of the block upside. Like, have you noticed there's just more blocks to go around in Summer League because guys will just drive the lane and just give you just easy blocks. So, that's why I like Donovan Clingan. That's why I like Colin Castleton, guys like that. Because if they are good shot blockers, I know you can't count on that stat, kind of like putting in golf. But in Summer League, you kind of can. Can't lie. So that'll be my kind of Dallas play. There is more, but I'm going to let you talk about Dallas.
Yeah, so Dallas, I think, obviously Sharps. Like, this slate's a little bit different than last slate. Last slate, we had a lot of value. This slate, not so much. So I think Sharp, assuming he starts again, 4.4K center would be one of the better values in the board. And then the offense is running for those top 3 guys, Prosper, Williams, and Lawson. I think Williams probably has the highest floor since he's going to be playing the point guard position, 5 assists, 4 boards. He's always kind of been a stat sheet stuffer. He's a veteran. He's been around for a while, but they do have him on a 2-way. So he's going to play good minutes, played 31 minutes last time out. Prosper and Lawson, a little bit of a lower floor, but these guys do have a similar ceiling if they're making their shots. Prosper struggled with the shot last game. Lawson did as well. 4 of 16 for Lawson, and Prosper shot 2 of 11. So I think that Williams is going to soak up a lot of the ownership of people going to someone for Dallas. But I don't mind Prosper or Lawson to get different. I just think, again, Williams is the highest floor. The other starter was Jinka, 24 minutes. Again, not really an amazing point per minute player, but he's relatively cheap, so I think he's reasonable. And then off the bench, there wasn't really a ton. I mean, they did play 10 guys. Miller and Whaley played the most, 17 minutes each. They are Miller's 4.8, Whaley's 4.7. So they're like reasonable contrarian plays, but I think your safest kind of value play would be Sharp, assuming they stick with that same starting lineup. I think Kurt froze again, so I assume he's going to hop back here in a second. This happened last time out.
Yeah, this might happen a couple more times, but just deal with it. Williams feels really, really safe. I think Ajinka is fine for like if you're in like 20 max. I wouldn't mind one Ajinka. He is like their draft pick. I'm almost positive, unless I'm mixing him up with somebody else. Prosper, he's here to work on that shot. So I think he'll like even if he keeps having days where he shoots 2 of 11, 0 of 4 from 3. That's why he's going to keep working on that. That's kind of these guys come to go to summer league and they work on either their ball handling or maybe running point, being a playmaker. That's what he's here to do. I think he's going to continue to do that. If you had the balls to play him again in GPPs, I would commend the play, to be honest, especially if you just want to get out the gate. Super, super unique. No one off the bench really interests me. I don't feel the need to kind of get weird there. I meant to start the show off with this question, DK. Do you expect any different lineup changes for today?
Well, so we got to keep an eye on the status of Zach Edey, right? He's been out for the last few games with that ankle sprain. So I think
I'm leaning from what I've read. I think he doesn't play from what I'm seeing. What are you seeing?
Okay. I haven't dug into it too much. I was trying to look a little bit earlier. But obviously if he doesn't start, you're going to get Jemison. Let me look. Because I was like slightly worried of Golden State possibly shutting down Jackson Davis and Bojemski yesterday. Just quickly scrolling through.
I think the thing with Edey, I think that ankle issue is like kind of, it's enough to them to be like, okay, why are we risking it?
Right.
But maybe he goes the last game or something.
Yeah.
I want to see him again, man.
I do too. I hope he can play at least one more game.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance Bryce McGowan starts for Portland. He came off the bench last game. Sensabaugh is out for Utah. Last game in the second half, they started Kenzie. So I think that Kenzie probably starts again.
Shout out Marshall, baby. Go Herd.
Yeah. And then Sacramento, Timmy really struggled at the 5, so I think they could switch that up. But yeah, not really expecting anyone to get shut. I mean, I guess the team that maybe would have the most risk of possibly shutting down guys would be Boston, like J.D. Davidson or Tata. But I still lean towards them playing.
I could see them playing literally every single game.
You think so?
I think L.A. could do Tommy Kuhse off the bench and start Trent Forrest or Sean East, just because they kind of flip flop that in the games in Cali. So could see that. Kuhse did really good. He deserves to keep starting. But if they're kind of just doing a deal where it's like, okay, this time you get the chance, I still think Kuhse will play. But you never know. Maybe Sean East gets to play or Trent Forrest starting, which certainly interests some of us who have followed Summer League for a while. But all right. First of all, who's Dallas playing? We got Memphis. Oh, perfect. Okay. So Cam Spencer, man, reports out of Camp Bar, that dude is absolutely going ham. I saw it in the Summer League game. It didn't truly translate to like a huge, huge game. Didn't do bad. Did really well. But I think there's more to be had there. I think they're going to play him great minutes every single game. I have interest in Cam Spencer. The rest of the guys, I don't mind, but I just don't feel taken by like, okay, I got to get Laravia in, got to get Pippen in, got to get Gigi in. How do you feel about the studs for Memphis?
Yeah, so the positive with Memphis is they're just going to run a very tight rotation. I mean, all these main guys are probably going to play around 30 minutes. They've been doing that in those pre-Summer League games as well. So that is the one positive. I think this is probably the best team in the Summer League as well. I mean, you mentioned Spencer. He's probably the easiest to get to just because of the price point. Like he's 6.4K. He shifted in the starting lineup. I think he's like real life good too. So he looks pretty good. The spend ups, like I have no issue if you want to try to get to Gigi or Laravia or Pippen. All three pretty good options in my opinion. All three are gonna have relatively high usage. And if Edey does miss, that makes those guys look a little bit better. I think Jemison will probably be the starter that goes a bit overlooked. He didn't have the best game last time out, but 7.2K would be an interesting contrarian play. Only 20 feints points in 29 minutes. I really don't think I can get to anyone off the bench, though, from Memphis. Just the way that they played the rotation. Like, all the main guys are playing a ton. So, yeah, Spencer probably the easiest to get to, but no issue if you want to get up to those top-end guys, too.
Yeah, and, like, more value could kind of maybe come throughout the day to where, like, you just kind of take your floor from one of the Memphis studs. Don't mind that. Gigi was a terrible game for what I kind of figured he would do. I know it's expensive, but maybe a low-owned guy gets you 40, start out the day, and you kind of just move on. let's get into Portland now. We do have a lineup change. Well, we think possibly McGowan's wasn't there for long when the trade happened, but now he's been there for a little bit, been in the camp with them or the practices. Could see him starting. I still like my boy Big Don. Center's always usually weak. I want to see what else there. I just have a hard time. A lot of these Portland guys are going to start eating into each other. I know they lost, but I still like this team's construction. I still like Davis 5,200. Rupert and Mania scare the shit out of me. Can't lie. Because there's just a lot of mouths to feed. Do you have anyone that's really drawing your attention here besides just getting Donovan Clingan for the center exposure?
Yeah, I think Clingan's fine at 8.4. He struggled with the shot, but did play 27 minutes, 8.4K. Reasonable price point. Don't love it, don't hate it. McGowan's, I would only even consider him if he starts. Again, he came off the bench last game, so if you're looking to play him, make sure he's starting. Chris Murray feels priced right, maybe a little overpriced. The minutes were there. The production was lackluster, though. 16 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Would expect if he plays similar minutes to have better rates tonight. Mania's minutes were not great, so can't really go there. He also had 4 steals and a block in 20 minutes. Don't think we can expect that again. I would say probably my favorite play on Portland would be Rupert, 6.2K, 32 minutes, had a decent game, 13, 6, and 5. Had decent numbers in the G League as well. And was getting a little bit of run from Portland down the stretch in the regular season. So I think Rupert is probably the preferred option. Kendrick Davis, if he starts again, would be an okay value play. He was pretty good for Golden State last year. Didn't have the best game day one, 21 minutes, 16 fantasy points, but he's at a relatively cheap price point. And kind of what we mentioned, there's not a lot of amazing value. So we get the confirmation that he is starting. I think he's fine.
This Portland team got first a team with Big Don. They got absolutely obliterated on the glass. Are you gonna take that into account for any of the guys on Philly? I mean, they got obliterated on the glass, bro. I'm pretty sure they gave up 2 15 rebound games.
I think maybe it makes the Philly bigs look a little bit better. Yeah,
it makes Bonner, especially the center. I would never play Bonner, but just because of the matchup, I think I actually might dabble in some Bonner today. Doughton, I really like McCain, my favorite. Then we go Doughton. Then Council, I don't mind, but it's just a big savings. You're getting similar minutes. My 2 favorite plays on this Sixer team is probably Bonner and McCain. And then I like Kevin Luma, but I can't do someone off the bench. I just can't do it. Are you ranking guys any differently here, or do you have any reason to go to Council at 9K?
I think Council is so of everyone in Philly, I think he has the highest ceiling for sure. Average, I want to say it was like 23 or something per game in summer league or in the G League. Maybe it was a little higher than that. I forget. But he's gonna chuck when he's out there. He had a 29 fancy or 29 point game in one of those pre-summer league games. So I think the ceiling is probably the highest on Council. And then Doughton and McCain, I would say are probably the 2 preferred options, like the easiest to get to. 7-1 for Doughton, 28 minutes. McCain at 6'5", played 27 minutes. They'll be doing a lot of the playmaking. I think both are pretty good options there. Bona is fine at 6'3". The downside is just he's not really great offensively.
Yeah, he can't score. But neither is Mensah. And Mensah crushed. I mean, Steve can attest to me, but they're kind of similar-ish. I mean, they're just bigs who aren't skilled offensively, but they're just going to get on the glass and get you double-double maybe. Similar to Diabate, and everyone loves playing Diabate with some block upside too. And you get 10 fouls, so you don't got to worry about the matchup with Big Don. Anything else to just talk about? I mean, are you doing anything with Kevin Luma off the bench?
Probably not. I think I was a bit of an outlier for 22 minutes, and the price point I don't love. You mentioned the 10 fouls. Did you see that Adama Sanogo fouled out last night?
I mean, what are we doing?
He lost minutes because of foul trouble. I played him. I was so tilted about that. He had 7 fouls in the third.
I think Quentin Jackson got pulled yesterday for Indiana because he had 4 in the first 4 minutes. So
that's wild.
I mean, it blows my mind. So first lineup change, we definitely will have Utah Jazz, Sensen Ball. Who'd you have sliding in, Kenny?
So yeah, in the second half last game,
Kinsey.
It was Kinsey. I mean, they could do a few different things here. But yeah, I assume it'll be him unless we hear otherwise.
If he starts, how much of a priority is Kinsey for you?
I think it'd be a solid value play. Like he's not doesn't put up amazing numbers. Like in the G League last year, 30 minutes, 11 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. So it's not going to get anything crazy. Plus he's going to be playing alongside relative high usage players. But again, lack of value if he does start, I think he's solid. I mean, they could switch it up. They could do a bigger lineup. Maybe they throw Baisley in there or something like that. So we'll monitor the situation there. But
I just don't want to be biased because go Herd, but 4,200, not that much streaming value yet. So hey, maybe they start Baycott, or maybe just because another DMP. My guys here, Cody Williams. I think he had an outlier shooting performance. We know he can't shoot that great. I kind of wish he's a little bit cheaper. I like Collier the most, and then that's probably as far as the guy that might make my main team. It's probably just Collier. I think Filipowski will have another shitty performance, and I might still play Kenny Lofton because I don't care. What about you?
Yeah. So just a quick heads up, your voice is good, but you're frozen again on the screen.
Oh my goodness! All right, will you talk more about Utah?
I'll talk Utah. Okay, so Utah. So yeah, assuming the starting five, that'll be the starting five. So Hendricks, Williams, Collier, Filipowski, and Kinsey. I do think there's a chance Lofton could start over Filipowski. They basically split the center position last game. Lofton's the better point per minute guy of the two. He actually closed over Filipowski as well. So keep an eye on that. I mean, if Lofton starts, I think he'd be a pretty good play. I had a lot of Lofton in that last slate and then swapped off it last second when we got that starting lineup. But yeah, Filipowski, if he starts again, is fine. Again, he kind of struggled in those pre-summer league games. He had his best game in last time out, 20 minutes, 22 fantasy points. I agree with Kurt. I think Collier is probably your easiest guy to get to. 28 minutes. He's going to play the point guard position, 6.1K. He had some good games when Keontae George was playing, and obviously Keontae George and Kessler are both out. Hendricks, I think will go a little bit overlooked, but he should play good minutes, 8.3K. I think he's a fine contrarian play. I don't mind the rookie Cody Williams either, 31 minutes. That's good to see. Did have a good shooting game. He struggled with a shot in his pre-summer league game, so again, reasonable price point. And then, yeah, Kinsey, if he starts, not great point per minute, but would be a decent value play. Last really guy to mention for me would be Darius Bazley, the vet. He's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Played 20 minutes off the bench, 5.2K. I think he's a fine contrarian play.
I agree. No more final thoughts for me for Utah. I guess we can get into Sacramento, another team we've seen a good bit of today or this summer. Timmy, I had not a lot, but I had enough Timmy to tilt me when he just looked so bad. I look at the roster and I was like, man, they're really gonna need him to get some solid minutes. The 5 didn't happen. Maybe could have, but he sucked. I mean, this game just doesn't translate to the NBA. Simple as that. The Joneses. We have the Joneses and the Ellises. They have 3 Joneses and 2 Ellises, all get decent playing time. The starters were Keon Ellis, Mason Jones, Isaiah Jones, Colby Jones, Drew Timmy. I'm missing, and yeah, kind of hoping to be Snead. But Isaiah Jones, so this is a point guard, shooting guard. He is not. He's a power forward. I'll go right back to him for value again today. I believe in the kid. The other Joneses, I don't know. I want to like Mason Jones. The peripherals look really nice. I guess he'd probably be my second play here. Keon cheaper. I think Keon shoots a lot better today if you want to get weird. And I will play Keon on the night slate. What are you going to do if they do go someone else besides Timmy? Do you have interest, and do you think it'll be Luau Akul Jr.?
Yeah, so I think there's a chance, again, they can switch that up. If it is, whoever starts the 5, I think would be a decent value play for Sacramento. If it is Timmy again, I mean, you can consider him. 13 minutes was very disappointing. He had 5 turnovers. I think if he would have played better, he obviously would have played a little bit more. But Sacramento just got absolutely killed. Keon Ellis struggled with the shot, but he is the high ceiling, I think, on this team. He had a 30-point game, one of those pre-summer league games in 33 minutes. And also something to note, Sacramento ran a pretty deep rotation last game, but I think that's just because they got destroyed. In those pre-summer league games, they were running like 8-man rotations. So I think there's a chance they could tighten up the rotation in this game. But I think Mason Jones, probably my favorite play. He's the guy to get to. He'll play a lot of the point guard position, 6.6K. Had a good game in 26 minutes. I like him. I was trying to look on Twitter. I didn't see anything. I mean, Colby Jones only played 14 minutes. You think that's just because they're getting destroyed, right? I didn't see anything.
I was trying to find that out as well. And Boogie checked in and was playing decent. I mean, Boogie was shooting the ball really well. And they had other guys to give minutes to, but they got to give Snead some minutes. So,
okay.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, Colby Jones, I mean, he had decent numbers in those pre-summer league games. So I think he'll go like unowned. Maybe if you're like, for example, if you're not off to a great start in the first couple games, and maybe you have like Mason Jones in your lineup, you get swapped to Colby Jones, try to make up ground, give yourself a chance because I think 14 minutes was a complete outlier. He was averaging like 30 minutes a game in those pre-summer league games. So he's an interesting kind of contrarian play. We know a lot of the more casual players will just kind of chase after, assume what's going to happen. You assume what happened in game 1 will happen in game 2. So I always try to look to guys that maybe underperformed or the minutes and usage were there. So I think Kobe Jones is an interesting bounce back candidate there. Boogie Ellis off the bench. I mean, he'll chuck in 21 minutes, 25 fantasy points. I think a reasonable contrarian play. 10 shots last game. He's got a couple of those pre-summer games where he got double-digit shots up as well. And then, I think we just have to keep an eye on the center position. Oh, last guy too, Isaac Jones. So they have him listed as a guard. He's more of a big 27 minutes, 16 fantasy points. I think he is another pretty good value play.
Yeah, Isaiah Jones will be in my core. Full disclaimer. If you had to pick someone from this game that's most likely to be on your main team, who would it be? From this team. I'm sorry.
From this team, yeah, I think Mason Jones.
Mason, not Isaiah. No love for Isaiah. It's hurtful. Or you just not want to steal my pick?
Isaac Jones, I mean?
I think I'm locking him, and then I'll just kind of diverse as like if I get a 4K starter in the previous two games that I like, I'll kind of come off a little bit, but I'll probably start off with 100% Isaiah Jones. I'm a wild boy. Also, Mason Jones will probably be second. And Steve said he won't get 11 boards again. Yeah, it's just the fact that they don't have any bigs, Steve said. And Mason Jones is huge. So, I mean, if he could maybe get 8 again and then have a really nut shooting game. Steve said if Isaac Jones gets that to me minutes again, he's going to crush. I agree. Same thing with Collier, too. Collier and Jones are probably my favorite 2 plays so far that I'm definitely going to be way, way overweight on.
Yeah, Mason. I was just looking up Mason Jones G League stats. Obviously 11 rebounds, a bit of an outlier, but still a solid rebounder.
I mean, he's huge. Like the dude's long, bro.
Yeah,
long. And I love me my long guys.
Like his first year in the G League, he averaged 25 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. His most recent year, 16 points, 8 assists, 5 boards. So he's going to stuff the stat sheet.
Stat stuffer. All right, the best game of the night, my Boston Celtics, and the old storied rivalry with the Lakers. A lot of good Boston pieces. Heyo, a lot of good Boston pieces, but they're priced up pretty decently now. Starting 5. Did you see where NBA.com had Peterson starting, but it actually ended up being Walsh? So JD Davison, Jaden Springer, Baylor Shireman, Namus Keita, and Jordan Walsh were the starters, all almost 7K. 3 of them over 8K. Anton Watson, Drew Peterson were the 6th and 7th man. And they ran a decent size rotation, to be honest. I wish they ran a little bit smaller one. But who's your priority here? I'm going to say mine's Davison again. My fade's going to be Springer. I love Baylor, but I actually might be lower on him. And it's going to be Keita and Davison for me. And I actually do like Jordan Walsh probably more than the other 2.
Yeah,
Springer and Baylor, I mean.
So I'll say there's no priorities for me from Boston. They did run a pretty gross rotation. Again, Keita, 23 minutes, 25 for Walsh, 24 for Shireman, 25 for Springer. Like at these price points, it's a little tough to go to those guys. JD Davison did play the most. He played 29 minutes. So of like the spend ups for Boston, he's probably the easiest to get to. Plus, he's going to play the point guard position, has a bit of a higher floor, 7 assists last time out. So yeah, I don't mind him at the top. Keita, I mean, 22 minutes. He's obviously pretty good to be playing in summer league. He was on the Boston Celtics actual roster. But if he plays a little bit more, I like him more. But yeah, 23 minutes, that was the only concern I had with Keita. And then off the bench, again, they did play 10 guys, kind of spread it out. Not a ton of interest in anyone really there. So I think my preferred options would be Keita, Davison. Don't mind Walsh, though. He was the one Celtic that struggled with the shot. 25 minutes, 15 fancy points. But he's also the cheapest of the starting 5.
Walsh will definitely be on my night slate team, and I really like him as a low-owned play. He's there to work on a shot. I mean, his defense is there, so I think he'll just keep shooting. I think he did the same thing last year. He just kept shooting mostly, and in some games he just didn't shoot at all because the roster was a little bit more stacked. And it's not stacked anymore, but, I mean, they have to get him more offensively capable so he can start getting some minutes in our actual rotation. All right. I wish I would honestly dabble in a bench piece for Boston being Anton Watson, but they made him 6K, so I can't even consider that. Like if they made him like 5K, man, I would have been an idiot and got one share, but you can't even. You guys got any favorites today? If you're talking about sportsbook, I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe like favorite plays or something. We can talk about that at the end, I guess.
Yeah, we'll give out favorite plays, but let us know what you mean. All right, LA. I'll let you start out. I've been starting all of them. I've been selfish. I'll let you start out with your Lakers takes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so Lakers starting 5 last time out was Dalton Knecht, Castleton, Bronny James, Maxwell Lewis, and Koos. Assuming they'll go with that same starting lineup, maybe an outside chance that the veteran Trent Forrest starts. So keep an eye on that. Canucks had a huge game last time, 9.2K, went for 44 fantasy points, 25 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. He was a little bit up and down those pre-summer league games, 9.2K, not out of play, but a little bit tougher to prioritize him. Castleton had a decent game, nothing crazy, double-double, 10 points, 10 boards, 2 assists. Small forward, power forward, he actually is a center, even though they have listed as small forward, power forward. Again, he'll stuff the stat sheet. If he can get hot with a shot, I mean, he does have a pretty high ceiling. So I think he's a pretty relatively safe play. Bronny James, I was basically crossing him off last slate. The one positive to note, though, is he did get 14 shots up, 0 of 8 from 3. But the minutes they took up, too, like 27 minutes. I still don't think I can do it, but we did want to mention the increase in shots. Lewis and Coos, assuming they both start, are fine plays. Maxwell Lewis has been awful with his shot, but he's continuing to play decent minutes, 25 minutes. And then there's 2 guys, though, that I want to mention off the bench, and that's going to be the 2 vets, Moses Brown and Forrest. Again, Moses Brown's been around for a while. He's in the Thunder for a bit, on the Blazers. He played the backup 5. He is a good point per minute player in 13 minutes, 19 fantasy points. Reasonable punt play. And then Trent Forrest at 4K, 24 minutes. Again, he was in the Jazz for a bit. 2 points, 6 assists, 2 boards, 1 steal. The flat min price, maybe a chance he starts the point guard. Either way, even if he comes to the bench, I still have some interest in him. So yeah, there's some interesting value plays, and then some viable spend-ups as well for LA.
So a lot of people are wanting to play Moses Brown. I don't think I can play Moses. He's a legit DNP risk if he doesn't start. I know he saw minutes off the bench last game, but he scares me if he doesn't start.
There's always that risk.
Forrest. Sure. Like, I'm kind of afraid to play Forrest off the bench too, just because I feel like in some league past it's been sketchy. I do think we could see a shakeup. Like I said, they were kind of rotating the point guard spot, and then Kusi played great. He definitely will play tomorrow or play tonight, but maybe they give someone else a chance to start at the point guard position. If so, I have major interest. Or you can just play Kusi and then go down to get different, depending on how your lineup looks. Blake Henson, going to come off the bench and chuck threes. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. If you're someone who likes that, my favorite play on LA is probably Maxwell Lewis, Castleton, and maybe if I start pulling a little more value, I'll get some connect, but I really don't right now. Castleton, the guy with blocks, same type of play as Don Klinken. I don't want to play them together. I know they're not the same position, but I just don't want to rely on the ceiling block games, even though I figure one will probably get 5+ blocks. Yeah, Maxwell Lewis, yeah. Borderline core play for me. We'll see how my lineup looks when I start building, but definitely my favorite play here. DK, if I was to tell you pick one guy from this lineup to be on your main team, who would it be?
From the Lakers?
Yeah.
I would say I think Castleton's fine, or if you want to get risky, maybe you take a shot on one of those mid-price guys that we mentioned, Forrest or Brown, just because there's lack of value. But just know, like we talked about for a few times now, anyone not starting, there's DNP risk. Lakers could switch up the bench rotation. Again, they do have a lot of other guards, so it's definitely possible. So there's always that risk. But yeah, I think for me, Castleton, I don't mind. Maxwell Lewis, again, he's really – if he could actually make a couple shots, I mean, he does have a ceiling. So I'm totally fine with that call too.
Someone said talk about small forwards. If you don't spend up, I kind of agree. I've just been spending up at the position. But you got Sharp there, 4,400. He's not really a small forward, but this is a small forward. And then you have a lot of other bench pieces. Alex Reese off the bench for Portland. We didn't talk about him, but he's also more of a power forward, 5. I liked him at Florida. Maxwell Lewis is a small forward. I'd advise spending up or playing like Sharp. DK, would you agree?
Yeah, that's probably the direction. Maybe like one of those, maybe if Sewell starts for Sacramento could be playable. Going all the way up to GG or the Arabia or, Castleton for a little cheaper, I think is fine. Or you just punt with Sharp, assuming he starts again. I think he's a pretty safe play. Yeah.
I probably will have an Ajinka lineup too. So I might just rotate the small forward position, to be honest. Let's get into it, guys. I appreciate you watching. We're going to do a core plays. I've already kind of said who I love, but I'm not going to give that as my core play. I love Isaiah Collier. I love Collier. I love Isaiah Jones. Well, yeah, Isaiah's. And I'll give another one as well. But DK, who's your play of the day?
Okay, let's see.
Another one.
I'm trying to think of someone a little bit more off the board. Do you have someone already?
No, I want to go off the board too. You know what? I'm going to go Jordan Walsh. That's small forward. I'm going to help out Tommy Robertson. I'm going to give him Jordan Walsh.
Yeah, I think that's a solid call. Let's see. I'll say Mason Jones. I don't think he'll be like super popular, but I think he's kind of easy to get to in the mid range. So yeah, if you wanted to, again, Kobe Jones is at a similar price point. I think he's a good pivot. If you wanted to get a little bit different, I think Kobe Jones would be the guy. But if you want to play a little safer, I think Mason's your guy.
Yeah, Cater Castleton. I'm going to go Castleton. The price doesn't matter.
That's close. Little bit more confident in the minutes for Castleton. Both good point per minute. I'll lean Castleton too, but not by a wide margin.
The price doesn't matter. I mean, if you love the $800 savings you can get or whatever it is, then I would just go Kata since it's so close. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. I have a lot of people asking where you can find starters. Sometimes we don't get them, but sometimes certain group chat or certain Discords get them. I advise being in as many as you can afford because it definitely gives you more edge. DK, tell them where to find you. I'll tell them where they can find me.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter or YouTube. YouTube's just DK DFS. Twitter is DK __DFS. But yeah, trying to get some summer league videos up there as well and doing some content on Twitter too.
Guys, it's going to be go over to Run For Your Sports, single sport, summer league. Use the promo code Kurt15. Be in the Discords. Sometimes he gets the news. Sometimes we get the news. Sometimes we both get the news. You can benefit from both of us. Let's all win money. We both have awesome starts. We have both had shippers. Let's keep getting it. Teamwork makes the dream work. And let's have a great – this is when we start – after today, when these third games start, we'll start seeing studs get shut down. And that's when the fun really begins. So you MLB people, you're joining at the right time. Just be on your phones 5 minutes before each lock. Twitter search your players' names if you're going in the 188 or 180 today. Good luck, everyone. I do not have the outro ready, so we're going to wait for me to awkwardly press it. We found it. Everyone, good luck today. Peace.